What's good, everybody? Welcome to the 10th episode, number 10 of the KE Podcast, where we transform you into the best version of you. Guys, money. A lot of people go their whole lives without truly understanding it. And real estate is one of the best ways to make money. So how in the world could I talk about real estate without bringing on my man, Reegin Maki, who's a real estate agent in Canada and over 90,000 followers on TikTok. Welcome, my man. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I've been watching you grow this, so I'm really excited to be a part of it, especially at the beginning stages. I know it's going to be big.
Yeah, man. It's also like I've been watching you too, and seeing you grow as well. And you were the first person that really opened my eyes to like financial education, because it's something we never learn in school. And but for everyone that's not familiar with who you are, give us a quick introduction about you and who you are, what you're about.
Okay, so my name's Reegin, obviously. I'm a real estate agent here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I haven't been in the industry long. I've only been in it about 3 years now. So I struggled my first couple of years, and then something clicked. I really figured my business out, and it's gone really well the last about year and a half. I work with a lot of investors, so a lot of my time is spent finding deals, underwriting deals for my clients, and then going through the whole due diligence and purchasing. So although a lot of them are not my own money, I'm not buying them myself. I'm going through the whole process of buying investment properties every week. So that's the majority of how I spend my days. Clearly, you said TikTok. So I started about a year ago, just going on TikTok, see how it goes. I thought I'd gain a couple hundred followers. And within the first month, I think I had 50,000 followers, just because I was talking about real estate, the things that I had learned. And so, here we are. I'm still doing my real estate business, helping people find investment properties. And then clearly we're moving into a bit of an influencer space. So
yeah, and it's exciting because now you're at 90,000 and you're growing so fast, and it's like
we're getting there.
Yeah. It's exciting, and more people are learning about it, and it's awesome. What got you into real estate, Reegin?
Honestly, my parents. So I grew up, my parents, they weren't super well off. My dad was a mechanic. My mom worked in some offices. So my parents, they like to buy the worst home on the block. They go into a nice neighborhood and find the one house that's just falling apart. And then we'd buy it, we'd move into it. And then essentially I would live in a construction zone until that house was the nicest on the block. And then my parents would sell it and then do it all over again. So I moved around a lot in the same house or in the same town, but I lived in something like 10, 15 houses or something. So that really opened my eyes to looking for potential in a house and seeing the things that buying a certain type of house can do in terms of your wealth. So I just saw the opportunity that real estate had. And then as I got into university, I took a business degree, and I spent a lot of my time skipping class and just going on YouTube, reading books, following people that were in real estate and really figuring out what investing in real estate and real estate sales can do for you. So that's how I essentially got into it. And then after I was near the end of my degree, I needed an internship in order to graduate. So I took an internship with another realtor, another real estate agent in town. I did that for about a year. And then afterwards I graduated, got my degree, and then got licensed myself. And here we are.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And obviously it's going well for you so far, right?
Yeah, it's going all right.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Man, a lot of young people as well, they want to get into real estate. And from your experience, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone that wants to get into real estate, but one piece of advice you'd give to that person?
Real estate sales or real estate investing?
Ooh, okay. What about, okay, let's say someone's 18 years old, yeah? And he
Mhm,
wants to achieve financial freedom. What's the
mhm.
best route to take for him? What do you think? Is it real estate investing or real estate sales?
I would say so. Real estate investing, unless you're going to go full time into something like flipping houses or wholesaling, those are really difficult things to get into. Um, they have tremendous upside, so you could build a lot of wealth, but it is a full time gig. So if you want to get into just buying rental properties and holding long term, I would say first find a way to increase your income or find a salary position where you can have a decent amount of income in a year and keep your expenses low so that you can have that extra amount of cash every year to put into real estate, because you can't really get into real estate unless you have money. So first off, I would say find a way to increase your income. Easier said than done, but yeah, becoming a realtor is a really great way to do that because there is no ceiling to it. You can make an unlimited amount of money when getting into real estate sales. If you get a job, you're kind of stuck, but you have this steady income in a job. On a realtor, you kind of got to go all in. So you can go broke really easily. I think like 85% of realtors fail in their first year.
Wow.
Um, but if you can figure it out, once you get into the industry, about 20% of agents do 80% of the transactions. So
Okay.
there is a small amount of people at the top that are making an insane amount of money. Like there's people in my city that are making 10 grand a week very easily. Um, so yeah, that would be my piece of advice. If you want to get into buying real estate, find a way to increase your income first outside of that, because you're not going to be able to invest in real estate if you're just having a small salary and not having a lot of leftover at the end.
Okay, I see. And Regan, if you could go back to the beginning of your real estate career, what is one thing you wish you knew?
One thing I wish I knew is, so for me, it really changed when I started putting out content. Um, the biggest switch in my business was when I first started getting in the business, I really tried to chase clients. I really tried to find clients. I felt like I needed to go out there and generate business and and essentially, because you're desperate to get your first couple deals, there was this feeling that I'm chasing clients, and people can find that out. Like if they're talking to you as a young agent, they can sense how desperate you are. Um, I've heard people call it commission breath. You're just like, you walk up to them and you're just thinking about, I need this commission. You're not really focusing on the client and what they need. So the biggest flip for me is when I started putting out content um, and showing what I knew about real estate and showing that I was a trustworthy person, then people started coming to me. So I would say the biggest thing for me, the biggest switch was attracting business by putting myself out there online rather than chasing business.
I see. Okay. So the power of social media. So you think everybody should at least be on social media, putting out content if they, I think with any business, with anything you want to do,
Yep.
showcase what you're doing, because then people, they see what you're doing and then they trust you more. Especially if they
Yeah.
see you long term, like they keep seeing you on social media, you start to build that trust.
Yeah.
But then if there was no social media, they'd have to see you in person a few times and then they have to
Yeah.
find out who you are. So most of your clients, like, they're from social media.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah, like you said, like I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable putting themselves out there on social media because they feel like, oh, I'm not, I don't know a lot yet, or I'm not very well established. And honestly, I feel the same way a lot of times. But here we are a year later. I forced myself to put myself out there, even though I didn't feel 100% ready. And now I have just about 100,000 followers. I'm sure it's the same thing with you. We don't have it figured out, but we're just bold enough to put ourselves out there, say, hey, we don't know it all, but this is what we do know. Um, So all you got to do is put out what you do know. Guarantee there is a ton of people out there who may be just one step below you, who don't know what you know. So that's the biggest thing. Is you don't need to educate the entire world. You don't need to educate or try to educate the people that are above you. All you got to do is just talk to the guy that's one step below you, and you'll build a massive following.
That's 100% true. You know, I feel like a lot of people, they see us social media guys and they're like, wow, they must have so much confidence. You know, they must have, they must be so like experienced. No, guys, we started this not knowing what we were doing. We started it because we wanted to just see what would happen, you know, and everyone has a different story, but we never started perfect. You know, we never started on like the right foot. We just hit the gas pedal, and then anything can happen on social media. Anything can happen. And like Reegin said, you may think, all right, no one's going to listen to me. My life's boring. There are people that would love to know who you are, but they just haven't seen you yet. And so get out there on social media. Like, do you know Ty Lopez, the guy that's like knowledge? Yeah. He's the only a lot of people like they saw his ads and they didn't like him because he was always coming up in the ads. But man, everyone knows who he is now. And so he's probably making a lot of money from that. And the more people know you, the more opportunity you get. And that's exactly what happened with you in the real estate.
Exactly. And it happens, I'm sure you can attest to this, it happens much quicker than you would think it would.
Really?
And you find yourself in situations that you're like, wow, a couple months ago, a year ago, I wouldn't believe that I have this many followers or am connected with this caliber of person. So yeah, if there's anybody out there who hasn't taken that first step, I'd say definitely just go for it. I mean, nobody's good on video their first time. You go back to my first TikToks, they're horrible. And some could argue my new ones are as well, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I mean, for all of us, man, it's just like you go to our first ones. Don't, matter of fact, don't go to the first ones.
Yeah, don't do it. I'll go delete those right away.
Reegin, obviously getting a lot of money, you know, there is some financial education that comes with it. You know, there's a reason why, like, I don't know the statistic, but a small percentage of the richest people have more money than the rest of the world. And it's because of what they know, the knowledge they have. And so what was the beginning of your financial education journey, and how can the people watching start getting into that?
The beginning of my financial education. To be honest, I was lucky because I had parents who, although they didn't fully understand financial education, they understood that other people did. They understood that it was important to understand that. So I had parents that urged me to go into business and educate myself. My dad was a mechanic, so he always said, you can either work with your body or you can work with your brain. And he was working with his body, and he said, I encourage you to work with your brain, even though I was more inclined to work with my body because I really struggled in school. So he urged me to go into business. So clearly that was the beginning of my financial education journey. We were chatting before we started. The book that kind of sparks it for everybody is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you're wanting to get started and you have no clue to where to start, read that book. I think I got it here. Yeah, I do. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So read that book. That will open a world of opportunity. It'll send you down a wormhole. It's a great book.
Yeah, perfectly said. Like, if you want to get into financial education, you need to read that book. I mean, you recommended that to me. And like we said before this podcast started, the first time I actually got into this financial education stuff was from Reegin. So, and he told me, read that book on a TikTok. I read this book. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna read this book. I read it, and your whole life changes. You end up understanding, like, okay, there's a reason why lottery winners, most of them lose all their money in like the next 2 years. There's a reason why top performing athletes end up losing all their money after they retire. And
Yeah.
it's because they don't have that financial education. And
Hmm.
there is always something to learn with that. Like you're never done learning about money. It's such
Hmm.
a like deep hole to get into, but it's
Yeah.
so worth it. And
Hmm.
you can take everything away from someone, but you can't take away his knowledge. So educate
Exactly.
yourselves, guys. Invest in yourself.
Hmm.
Regan, what are the most important traits someone needs to have to like get into real estate or get into money? Because it's a very testing field, you know?
Hmm.
It's like, for example, in sales, a lot of people can't handle the rejection, they can't handle the
Hmm.
pressure. So, what are the
Yeah.
biggest traits people need to handle the pressure of real estate, of sales, of all that field of making money with your mind?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go into real estate sales, it's an interesting business because a lot of people they hear sales and they think you got to be some person that's really good thinking on your feet. You got to be really charismatic and be able to kind of schmooze people and bend them to your will and really influence and persuade. Those guys can be quite successful, but a lot of the times when you're bending people to your will to make money, they make a lot of money quickly and then they crash and burn because nobody trusts them and no one wants to work with them again. So I would say one of the biggest keys when getting into sales, when getting into specifically real estate sales, is you need to be really good at getting people to trust you. And how you do that is ask really good questions. Um, and not only asking questions, finding out what people really need in their lives, you need to be able to empathize with what they're going through, what their situation is. The biggest thing in sales is trust. So if no one trusts you, they're not going to want to work with you. They're not going to want to come back and work with you again, and they're not going to want to refer their friends to you. Um, so myself, I'm not super outgoing, not super charismatic. I would say I'm more introverted. Um, so it actually kind of works out better for me because most of the time I just ask really good questions and I have the client talk and I just listen and I really internalize what they're going through, what they need, and try to empathize with their situation. So I would say get really good at asking questions um, and empathizing with what people are going through. The second one, specifically with real estate sales, is a lot of people will fail after the first year because they get really good at the sales part, but then they don't get good at the business side. So they can convert a lead, but then they don't know how to find more leads. They don't know how to properly put them through a funnel and then build it into a business that's essentially running itself. So I would say get really good at um, systemizing and finding a way to continue to find new leads or continue to build out your network. Um, so yeah, overall, I would say it's about people. It's less about um, the money side of things and more about growing your network and growing people's trust in you.
I like that. I like that. And speaking of networks, building, making connections, very important part of business and of
Mm-hmm.
life. And so, from your experience, how important is it to have a good network and making good connections? How important is that in life?
It is incredibly important. Not only with business and money, but just relationship. Um, Having a network is the biggest thing, and honestly, it's one of my. It's not a huge regret. It's not like I spend time dwelling on it, but looking back, I wish I would have spent more time growing my network, especially someone your age who's like 16, 17, coming out of high school. If you really want to get into business, if you want to get into real estate sales, something along those lines, I would start investing in your network now. because I'm 10 years out of high school now. And looking back, I'm like, man, if I would have been intentional about coming out of high school and growing my network through high school and then through university and then out of university to now, it could be the difference between your business falling and you going broke your first year, or you making six figures in your first year. If you have a huge network and people truly feel like they're your friend, then you're going to be all right. And to add on to that, I would say focus on building friendships rather than just building out your network. And, oh, that's another contact, grab a business card and then on to the next. Oh, that's another email, I got a card. Focus on real, genuine relationship, and you're going to be way better off.
I love that. Focus on building friendships rather than just getting a business card. Very good way.
Exactly.
Putting that. Yeah. So, Reegin, man, we've spoken a lot about money, and to end this off, I wanna ask a question that I usually ask a lot of the people I interview, and it's rank these four words, these four themes: money, knowledge, health, and love. Now, obviously, they're all important in life, but I want you to rank them from the most important to the least important.
Money, knowledge, health, and love. I would say love is number one.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because you see people who are multi-billionaires, they spend all their time optimizing their health, but then they get home at the end of the day and they have nobody and they're miserable and they end up jumping out a window.
So it's all about mental health, the first one.
Yeah, so I would say love is the biggest thing. I would say health is the second biggest thing, because there's no point in having knowledge or money if you're on your deathbed.
Yeah, 100%.
So I would say love, health, knowledge or money. I'd probably say health, or sorry, love, health, knowledge. I would say knowledge is third, because you can get money if you're knowledgeable. It doesn't really matter. So I would say love, health, knowledge, and then money is last.
That's
because at the end of the day, money doesn't really matter. Money is just a tool to build out the life that you want. So if you are okay and you got love, you're healthy, you have enough knowledge to survive, money's just a tool to do whatever you want. But if you got money and none of the other ones, then you're going to be in a really, really bad place.
Wow. Yeah, that's so factual. And it's like, I love how you put it, like the mental health is so important. Like you don't want to be, if you're miserable, then life is terrible. Like, it's like, even if you're on your deathbed, if you're happy, like that's never mind. I went the wrong way there. But yeah, I'm saying happiness is number one. Like you need to be happy, but then also health and love. I think they're both really, really important.
For sure.
Had an amazing conversation with you, Reegin. And but before we leave, any last message to everybody watching?
Last messages. I'll think. So to sum it up, if I were to try to give advice to someone your age or someone who's in high school, excuse me, someone who's in high school, I would say, one, invest in yourself. So that is number one. Buying a book or going to a seminar, something like that. Those things are worth it long term. So number one, invest in yourself. Number two, I would say invest in your network, because at the end of the day, it's all about people. The bigger the network, you hear the cheesy saying that your network is your net worth, but it's true. So invest in yourself, invest in your network. Two, I would say get out of your comfort zone. It's very tempting to stay in that comfort zone, but I think one of the reasons why I don't want to say I'm successful because I'm not yet. I'm on a journey, but I'm much closer than I was a couple years ago. I would say the biggest reason is because I don't like feeling that I'm like comfortable and I want to shy away from something. It really bothers me when I'm nervous doing something. So I want to do that thing until I'm not nervous doing it anymore. So when something gives you that feeling that you want to run away, I would say do everything in your power to run towards it, towards that being uncomfortable. And then fourth, I would say run towards things that are delayed gratification. For instance, working out sucks up front, but long term, you'll be way better off. You'll be way healthier. Same with investing. It hurts to throw your money into an investment account or into a house that's not going to pay you a ton, but then long term, you'll be really well off. So go towards things that are delayed gratification and avoid things that are instant gratification. Things like getting drunk or drugs. You get that instant hit. Pornography is a big thing. Avoid things that give you the instant. There's no work, because those things are so damaging to your brain and long-term so damaging to your health. And then last, I would say none of this matters. Making money, even being happy, none of it matters unless we're okay spiritually, unless we know where we're going after we die. None of life matters. None of anything we just talked about matters unless we know where we're spending eternity. So I would say search out for God. There is an objective reality. There's an objective God. So I would say, even if you don't believe him, you might not believe me. Go out, pray to God and say, hey, if you're real, reveal yourself to me. And if you honestly search for it, he'll reveal himself to you. So that would be my closing advice to a young person who's coming out of high school.
I think that was the best part of the whole podcast. That was awesome. I'm glad you said that.
Thank you.
And everybody, go check out Reegin. All the links are in the description. His Instagram, his TikTok account. Go follow him there. And his YouTube account. He makes very good YouTube videos about real estate. Go check him out. And any last final words on where they can find you and stuff other than what I just said?
It's just all my socials are the same. Reegin Maki, REEGIN MAKI. And then, DM me. I respond to all my DMs, so we can have a chat. But thank you for having me on. This was great, Adam.
Awesome. Thank you, Reegin. And guys, before we leave, hit that subscribe button right now. We're going to go crazy. We're not going to stop this podcast. And with every podcast, you're going to learn more and more and more. So subscribe. And I can't wait to see you next time. I love you guys. Take care.